Good afternoon, and welcome to the Gatekeepers of Alabama Mayoral Forum. Today, we're going to hear from another candidate, Darryl Williams, and we want you to bear in mind that the Gatekeepers' mission is to bring the influence of God into government. And so today, Darryl Williams will be coming before us. He grew up here in Birmingham, graduated from Parker High School, attended A&M University, and he has worked as an employee for the city of Birmingham for about 40 years, and we look forward to hearing what he has to say about what he planned to do as mayor of the city of Birmingham. So let's receive him now with a hand clap of praise. Darryl Williams.
It's 2 o'clock, so I say good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to thank Bishop Lowe for bringing me, and I'd like to say hello to Lyria. I'm 59. So let's do it like this. My name is Darryl Williams. I'm running for mayor of Birmingham simply because I feel somewhat responsible for the last 2 mayors. Now, working with William Bell for 35 to 40 years, after I saw everything that he ever did, you would think I learned what to do. Basically, I learned what not to do. I can tell you stories, but I'm not going to go that far, but I'm going to give you a few. In 1999, when you growing up as a child and you had a Monopoly game, the one thing about Monopoly, if you land on somebody's property, you owe them. You do not sell your assets as a mayor. You do not. Ayrton, 19 years, 6 months. Did not sell nothing, not the property. But Bell, in 6 months, sold the assets to the waterworks. Now, in New Hope Baptist Church, he stood up and said he didn't do it. Scales put up the contract. Now, I got a problem with telling untruth in the church, because I feel like if you lie to the church, if you lie to the clergy, you lie to God. Most of all, you lying to yourself. So let's just go to the second one. Woodfin, with that $90 million stadium, no matter what Birmingham or the next mayor has to come into, you start off with a $3 million debt. Go back to 3 years when he got in office. 30 years times 3 equal $90 million. You just gave $90 million to somebody that's worth billions. UAB got sandlot volleyball. You tell me if UAB can do eminent domain 20 years ago and go from Southtown Projects all the way Elmwood Cemetery and own the property, and the only person they did not take out of that picture was George Cyrus in the fish market. Look it up. Now, if it's nothing I don't know, from Dr. Savannah Cruz Jones to my daddy, Russell Williams, retired colonel in the Army, retired assistant principal in Childersburg. My mama taught at J.O. 30 years. Education, I couldn't go outdoors when I'm 9 years old without reading a book. So by the time I'm 12 or 13, I'm tired of books. My mother and father made me go to Alabama A&M. I didn't want to go to college, but to say that is my daddy also, as an engineer, taught me how to do electrical work. He taught me how to do welding. He taught me how to do everything that I could make a living if I didn't finish school. Now, back then, you had trade in school. Trade will save the young black man that's standing on the corner with his pants hanging down and tennis shoes. Trade, if you give him something to do, besides $15, $16, $17 an hour, he can get his own little small company, he can get a grant from the city of Birmingham, I'll help him. His girlfriend or his wife, whoever he's in love with, she will respect him more if he can provide. See, the black family is getting tore up if there are no strong men. The women in the United States, black women are the smartest per capita in the United States, period. Now, with them being smart, the one thing they want to do in Alabama is they want to build mega prisons so all these young men I'm talking about that don't have nothing to do, K.I.V. can keep them full. The bank, black people said they were going to take the money out of Regents Bank if they financed that prison. So Regents Bank backed up. So don't tell me black people don't have power. We spend $1 trillion every year. But we buy Jordans, We buy weave, we buy eyelashes, we buy cars with eyelashes on the front of them. We do some of the most weirdest things I've ever seen in my life. We do all that. I say this to say we don't stick together. Now, we use the same energy sticking together doing anything, we can come up. Bishop Lowe started this church, I think with about 14, 15 people. They thought he couldn't do it, but you can't beat God's giving. Now, at City Hall as a mayor, you got to care about people first. You cannot go in with a self-gratification, I'm William Bell this, I'm Doctor this, I'm DA that, I'm Judge this. You got a title on your name, but I guarantee you was a person first. I was just telling the young man, Greg, that who is the most important person? Is it the person you vote for, or is it you? Now, if you take the person that you vote, if you take the voting person out of the equation, you don't even have this person. But as soon as they win, they turn it back on you. They don't know you no more. But as soon as the election starts, we friends again. I might buy you some chicken. I might hug a baby. That's what they do. And some of those debates they having, those pastors, I don't even know why all the rest of us had to go. They're already with William Bell. That is that calm down situation. I give you money, you spread it out. We all together. That's sad. That's sad. And Bishop Lowe will tell you, I don't bite my lip for nobody, because at the end of the day, if I go pay my bill at Alabama Power, none of them have nothing to say. They can't take nothing from me. So that makes me dangerous to whatever I say. But the truth hurts a crooked politician. If you ever notice, Bishop Lowe, no matter what I say, they don't even rebuttal. They can't. Coming from Woodfin, helping him, coming from Bell 40 years, I said in the church, I am the most knowledgeable person coming from Ayrton all the way to Bell when it comes to politics. I know. The thing about a good mayor is, if I'm smart, the 9 people I got, 10 people I got working for me will be smarter. Now, if you look at the Birmingham Board of Education and you look at City Hall, they are top heavy. Let me give you a perfect example. Mobile school system has more kids than anything in the state of Alabama. But they got 9 administrators that make over $100,000. 9. You got 1 administrator that might be over the buses. That person might have 5 various jobs. But in Birmingham, they got 23 administrators that make over $100,000. Now, I tell you, that is nothing but waste. Randall has a young man that worked for him make $175,000. Can you kindly tell me if I can't make 3 jobs out of that? What does he do? Can anybody in this room tell me his name? It's Ed Fields. But if I didn't tell you that, could you tell me? I can give you more cases like that. Rick Journey used to be on Fox 6 News as the spokesperson for City Hall. But Randall has a young lady back in the back. He makes 100. She makes 90. Why you got 2 people doing the same job? You could take both of those jobs. You ran for mayor, you speak for the city. Why you need a spokesperson? Waste. If I give you $175,000 a year, why I got to give you a card to buy gas? Why I got to pay for your phone? Waste. You could take all that money that I'm telling you that they wasted, and you can go to Inslee and buy some pump trucks and get that water just like they do the waste. You can get that water from not being there. They don't understand it. When I worked at the city of Birmingham, I started off as a laborer. I cut Patton Park in 7 hours by myself. I didn't trim it, but I cut it. Do you know how long it takes city workers to cut Patton Park now? 3 crews, 2 weeks. Why? Waste. So the main thing about me being at City Hall is that I understand you have to get along with the 5 city councilmen to do anything. But let me say this to you as mayor, what you can do without the 5 city councilmen. As mayor, you are over public works. There is no way in God's heaven that District 5 should be clean and have garbage trucks running at night and Inslee look like it is. I personally took my truck and the trail on the back. And when we're not busy, I go to Inslee. I go to West End. I pick up the trash and take it for free. But the reason you don't know me is I don't put it on a billboard for self-gratification. The little bitty boy who was feeding the homeless, Randall couldn't wait to go over there and take a picture with him because that's what they do. Look at me. I'm taking a picture. I am somebody. So what about the people that you're supposed to be representing? Now, Bill Smith that owns Shipley give you $12,000 on Monday, then turn around and try to buy 6 parking decks Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Once again, selling assets. Who you helping? You get a Birmingham City Council an extra $50,000 discretionary money. They act like the money belonged to them. That's taxpayers' money. Wardine Alexander took maybe about roughly $5,000 and paid some people to cut grass in District 7 with her discretionary money. Now, can you kindly tell me what's the use of public works? That money was not meant for that. Take care of your neighborhood. Go get the trash up. Get the abandoned houses. Use it for what is. You don't need public works if you go take the money for that. Randall laid off, better word, Randall fired all the librarians. Now, most of them. I'm looking at the age of the people in this room. Now, I know one thing. Growing up, nobody in this room never heard of the librarian getting fired. Nobody. If you do, let me know. We really didn't even hear about teachers getting fired. Some of the kids in Birmingham are so poor that the only place they can have Wi-Fi is the recreation center or the library. Now, Crystal Smitherman said, let's take our travel money during a pandemic and let's put that toward bringing the people back. They shot her down 6-2 simply because they said that's not worthy. So you mean to tell me where you going to travel during the pandemic? Now, let's go to Hunter Williams. They playing a mean game. They want the next mayor to be Hunter Williams or Darryl O'Quinn. And I make a joke. Hunter Williams graduated from high school with Natalie Holloway, Mountain Brook. Now, I always say, if Hunter Williams win, Birmingham is just going to be just like Natalie. It's going to be missing. Now, I make a joke, but I'm dead serious. You let Woodfin Bell win, you're going back to what you got. Birmingham politics is built on the premise of quid pro quo. That means you do for me, I do for you. 1999, William Bell had over $1.5 million, and he lost to Kincaid, who had $27,000. So it can be done. Randall got over $1 million now. But he can't connect with those preachers that just did all those debates because he has turned his back on his own race, and they paid him well to do it. Pine Street, if you ask Doug Jones who Pine Street is in D.C., he would tell you they worked campaigns, they worked his. But if you turn around and ask Randall the same question, he would say they're lobbyists. Y'all look up Pine Street. They get $125,000 a month since Randall been in office, revolving contract. Now, it's ironic that the guy that owns Pine Street graduated from Morehouse with Randall. I can tie everything in. If you go back and look it up, you would wonder why some of these people are still in politics. You know why? Because out of 209,000 people living in Birmingham, only 45 to 50,000 vote. Now, if you can get that divide, if Randall can get all the whites, if Randall can get the young, if he can get the LGBTQ+, he can win outright. But it's a big game they playing. To answer the question before you get to me, I don't have a problem with the LGBTQ+. But when you turn your back, what they do, they play a game. If you black and you part of the LGBTQ+, you're not black anymore. You have a group you part of. So the straight black person never gets an advantage in nothing in Birmingham. That's the only problem I have. I got some friends that's gay. Hezekiah, he's gay. I don't have no problem with Hezekiah. Emmett Reed, he's gay. I don't have a problem with Emmett. But what do have a problem is if they black and they got a law to help them, the Asians get a law the first day something happened to them, tell me what politician has given a law to straight black people, period. President Obama couldn't do it because they wouldn't let him. Joe Biden don't even bring it up because you're going to kill your political career. I don't have a political career. I never wanted one, but I cannot sit by and let the same people ruin Birmingham over and over and over again. I understand the biggest problem we're going to have would be the budget. Most of the budget go to payroll. But if you're the mayor of the Birmingham City of Birmingham, you can keep our city clean. I'm going to inherit, if I win, a whole bunch of problems that they got. But you can keep the city clean. You can tear these abandoned houses down. We would never have to borrow band uniforms from Vestavia Hills. The money that we get in, you gotta use it wisely. You gotta put it in the recs. You got to put trade back in high school. You got to put all trade back in high school. That will help the young black men. In the 70s, if a man worked at a SIPCO and his wife was a teacher, you did well. 80s, you did well. But here come the 90s, you want to take everything? My mama taught sewing. This suit I bought, it did not have the hem. It did not have the cuff in the bottom, but my mama taught me well enough that I fixed that. I did it myself. If a socket tear up, I don't have to call nobody. I fix it. But that's coming from a mother and father that taught me well. You don't have a dad in these houses. The mama these days, they pacify a little child, a little boy, and he's just a mama boy. I'm a mama's boy, but there is a difference. I'm a mama boy that can do something. Now, if you go for the mayor's office and you keep voting for the same people, I guarantee you one thing. You're going to be right. You're going to get the same thing. But if you go off the grid and vote somebody like Darryl Williams, I will help this church, because I love two of the people that I know them. I know them well. They got the biggest heart in the world. I thought I could play a piano until I heard him play one. I used to play the piano for 16th Street Baptist Church. People look at you and they say, well, I didn't know he could play the piano. I didn't know he could play the saxophone. I didn't know at 5 years old he's at the Metropolitan Opera watching Arthur Fiedler and the Boston Pops with Leontine Price singing a Vita. Now, if you don't know nothing about it, I just said, but I said it. So it comes from the heart, people. If y'all don't, if you don't wake up, Birmingham will be just like Montana, which is 87% white. I don't care how many blacks live in Birmingham, but if Woodfin win or Bell win, we in trouble. Strike one, assets sold in 99. Strike two, that's stadium. Birmingham cannot stand another strike, because if it is, they're going to push all the black people to West End, Inglenook, Ensley. The way life is treated in downtown, uptown, I told Darryl O'Quinn at the last debate. Darryl and his girlfriend, myself, Darryl, and my girlfriend, we can walk in uptown, and feel safe at 7:30. I guarantee you Darryl O'Quinn and his wife can't walk in Ensley at 7:30 and feel safe. Now, the same police that do uptown, if they can do it that way, why they can't put it in Ensley? See, the police in Ensley don't come until they get a call. I'm standing right next to a police in uptown. So who that come on? The mayor. You cannot go to Los Angeles and get a police chief that don't know nothing about Birmingham. The top 3 police in the city of Birmingham are from Los Angeles. I agree with Philemon Hill. You got to get somebody from Birmingham. They qualify. I can show you some people that graduate from Birmingham Southern that work at City Hall, but they'll never get a chance because they're not part of the clique. Randall did one of the biggest tricks you ever seen. Anything that has something to do with money or getting a job. When he ran, he said he would look out for black people to be department heads. Lester Smith is the director of finance, white. Josh Carpenter stayed 3 years. He was the assistant to the president of UAB. He was over economic development, white. The HR lady from Arizona, white. Rick Journey, that speaks for the city of Birmingham, white. The person that he put over public works the first time, white. During the election, he moved Ralph the bar label over there. Now he put the bar label with the World Games. He has another director, 30 years old at Public Works, white. When he say transparency, everything that he fought bail for, he turned around and benefited everything, like the Mayor Council Act. Randall has $35 million. He can do whatever he wants to do with without even asking the city council. He asked them for courtesy or whatever. But that Mayor Council Act killed the power of the council. William Bell put it in with the Oliver Robertson deal, but the problem was William Bell lost. to somebody he never thought he'd lose to. Now, if William Bell perceives me right now as his enemy, one thing I know about God, God will make your enemy your what? Any questions?
You spoke of something called Pinetree. What is that? A little more elaboration on what that is and what you're alluding to there.
Pinetree in D.C., they work on campaigns, okay? Now, the Senator, Doug Jones, used them and paid them to work on his campaign to get him elected, like a local person would use me to help them get elected, because I know thousands of people. That makes sense. Randall graduated from college with the young man that owned Pine Street in D.C. Now, they get a revolving contract, but he can't say they're giving him for finance for working on his campaign. That's illegal. So they switched the word. They're giving it for a lobbyist to help them in D.C. at $125,000 a month, revolving contract. You do that time 4 years, time 12 months. That's huge.
You're saying that someone he graduated with Tuskegee, I'm
no,
sure that's
Morehouse.
Morehouse. Oh, that's African-American person?
Right.
Doug Jones used them, and now he is using them, and they're not lobbyists.
Randall Woodfin calls them lobbyists. Doug Jones calls them campaign strategists. Now, you can't have both. But see, Randall, as a lawyer, will use a lawyer term. Okay. And when you gave the $50,000 to the city council, they agreed with it. But seeing that $35 million Randall has, he does not have to have permission to go to the council to get that kind of contract out.
That happened when the Mayor Council Act changed and put all the power in the mayor's hands.
In the mayor's hands.
Because he has no accountability in making the budget. I remember that from when we...
If you notice the last budget that Randall, the one before this, they have what they call other projects. And it's $35 million he had for other projects. Who's to say what those other projects are? That's a lot of money for one man to have.
If I understand correctly, the city council is not given too much, from what I remember, they can't make the budget. The mayor makes the budget, and they can only approve or disapprove it.
Right.
I think it has to be total disapproval. They don't have line item veto. Is that correct?
No, they don't. But see, the thing is about total disapproval, you only need 5 city councils to approve it. You don't need but 5. Like Mayor Elton used to say when they had Jimmy Blake arguing every Tuesday, he would say, we did our business on Monday. He got his 5. William Bell had the 5 when he sold the assets. Tommy Lewis made a mistake in saying you got to have 6. You don't need but 5. You only have 9 city councilmen, so the majority would be 5. You only got 4 left. Hart's not running no more, so he's not voting on nothing for real anyway.
But to override a mayoral veto, I think you...
Now you need all.
Say what?
You need all.
You need
6 or all?
6, that's
right.
You need 6. Okay. Let me ask about, you made another statement. I want to know if that's valid. Wardine Alexander.
Wardine.
Yes, in order to get certain parts of her neighborhood cleaned up, she had to use her
discretionary money. She said that in New Hope. Go look at the video. She said I used discretionary money because I had to hire somebody, mainly because the mayor wouldn't clean it up. Now, you don't use discretionary money to clean up a neighborhood when you got public works. That's what they do. Does that make sense?
And you make another implication or statement. $12,000 was given to Randall. Was that for his campaign? That's
Bill Smith. You actually got a businessman in the city of Birmingham, Marlon King, gave Randall $5,000 for his campaign. But I'm going to tell you what quid pro quo is. Let me draw you this picture. He gave him $5,000 for his campaign, but if you turn around and ask what does his wife do for a living, Nicole is the head lawyer for the city of Birmingham.
Wait a minute, explain that. I'm lost.
Marlon King, Nicole are married. Marlon King gave Randall campaign $5,000. His wife, Nicole, is the head lawyer for the city of Birmingham. Quid pro quo definition, you do for me, I do for you. That looks mighty suspicious if I give you $5,000, but your wife is my head lawyer. Now, what you would have wanted to have done is send that money some other kind of way instead of you doing it. See how bad that look?
Okay.
So to keep my wife another 4 years,
I give you $5,000.
there you go. And it gets worse because if he raised over $1.5 million, you think they gave him $1.5 million because they like him? Alexander Shanara gave him $9,000.
And all of this is public record, I suppose.
Right, Greg Jones of the Jones Group, $3,500. But Greg Jones is one of the lobbyists. Not Greg D. Jones, but Greg Jones that's married to Aisha that own the stores in Mountain Brook, the lobbyist. He got a contract with Randall, with the city of Birmingham. And Randall, out of that $35 million, other projects.
Okay. $100,000 to 23 administrators, Board of Education.
Look it up.
We have 23 administrators. Mobile has how many administrators?
9. Mobile got the biggest school system in the state of Alabama.
Mobile has the biggest.
Right.
9. And okay. And we got 23 administrators. Now that's been a statement that's been said for many years that we are top heavy.
We are. Why you can't give, Bishop Lowe, if you have somebody in your church, say pastor right here, now he's qualified and he can do 5 jobs. I can see you giving him $120,000 a year, but he's doing 5 jobs. Why you got 23 people? I make a joke, another joke. In Birmingham, if the door is what we're talking about, he's over the door hinges, he's over the doorknob, he's over shining the door. You wasting money. But you turn around and you beg the mayor to give you money. Look at the budget. The mayor of Birmingham has a $4.4 million budget every year. So he can justify why he gives a $175,000 job to somebody. He can justify why Earl Hilliard Jr. has a job and he gave the father a $15,000 contract. He can justify why they tried to jump on for Lehman Hill at the Hall of Fame. That's what they do.
Okay. I want to ask you some questions regarding other areas. Proposals for the Civil Rights District. What do you?
Downtown Birmingham Civil Rights District, as growing up in 16th Street Baptist Church, per conversation I had with you on the phone the other day, you know, you're very lucky to be alive with the bombing situation. Because I think you would have been right in that age group.
I was.
She was there, your sister, your daddy, my mama. I might have been too little then. But it happened. I think a class in the Civil Rights Institute, funded by the city of Birmingham, I think a class should be taught to every 11th and 12th grade student in Birmingham about what happened then. Because you see they don't want history. They don't want black history in schools. From the 5th grade to the 11th grade, I went to school in Childersburg. My father, with a doctorate degree, was the assistant principal at Wheatley Middle School. The reason he would never be principal is because the superintendent told him we cannot justify putting a black man over all these white kids. But they paid my dad a principal money. Now, my dad, back then, you could paddle students. He paddled a lot of white students. The white parents would say, Mr. William, if you get out of trouble, paddle him. Now, isn't that sad that he could paddle them, but he can't be the principal? Civil rights in Birmingham, the Lowe's name have to come up. Jesse Lewis' name have to come up. Chris McNair, in a nice way, name has to come up. The people who set it in standard, it has to come up. You need to teach. And I would fund anything the civil rights need. Every time we get ready to run for office, all you hear about is that A.G. Gaston Hotel. I don't even know if it's finished yet. That's just a game, a tool they use. I know the contractors. I don't think it's finished yet. But to answer your question, I would fund everything the civil rights need. and I had the money. Now, one thing I would do, we're going to cut some of that $4.4 million out of my budget. But before I let somebody walk around hungry, you can't feed all the homeless, because a lot of homeless just want to be the homeless. You help the ones that you can. Civil rights, a lot of white people are moving back in Birmingham. Birmingham will be downtown Birmingham, District 5 will be 52% white in a year. Every time they get through with an apartment complex, they build another one. Go up under the viaduct and turn right and look at Railroad Park and look at the new apartments. It's $1,600, $1,700 a month. Go look at what Bill Smith, that owns Ship, bringing those landing, that's bringing those apartments, already furnished apartments, starting at, they say $750. Watch and see what happens. They're going to start at $13, $14. You tell me who can afford those.
Okay, let me move on to the question about, do you feel there's corruption in our city government?
Yes, I don't feel, I know. If Charlie Warford got $60 million, according to French got $2 million, I know. If Sherry Lewis gets ready to go to jail because Clyde Jones is going to put her in jail and the powers to be turn around, and the next thing you know, I do a whole circle 360, there's no charges. You take care of what's been taking care of you. Now, Randall with the two people that was at the JCCO, the mom and the daughter, one went to prison, one got out, the other one went to prison. Randall put that person on the board. The person that is investigating the two black judges right now, Nikita Blockton and Tracy Todd, Randall put the white man on the airport authority that is investigating them over the Judicial Inquiry Committee. Nikita Blockton swore Randall in. Now, if I turn my back on what I was born as a black leader, I feel you're a traitor. There's nothing you can tell me different.
Okay, I don't want to, I've got other questions, but I want to give an opportunity if there's anyone else. Pastor, you want to come on?
All right, thank you for sharing with us this evening, this afternoon. A couple of questions for you.
Yes, sir.
You spoke about some things that you've seen over your years of working in the city government. Moving to your plans for some of the things that we need in the city of Birmingham, can you tell us what is your plan for reducing crime?
When it comes to crime, we have to have, first of all, starting with Darryl Williams hiring a police chief that is from Birmingham. Now, not only am I hire a police chief that's from Birmingham, I know some that didn't have a stellar life growing up. They had other things going on, other elements going on in their life. So I'll say, let's just say crime. I know a lot of people that commit crime. Matter of fact, I tell on a lot of them. You can call it snitching, you can call whatever you want to. But if we don't say something, when Ayrton was in office, he had block captains. Older people who talk to older people who talk to older people. But back then, the problem was Mr. Lowe could probably whoop me and my mama be happy. You can't touch a child these days. But you got to have a police chief that's from Birmingham. Now, then you got to have the police engaging into the neighborhoods. Like I said, the police should be seen. We shouldn't have to call them. The high rates like Ensley, West End, if the police are seen instead of coming to the scene, it'll be just like Uptown. You're not going to tell me that police in Uptown and people are safe. You know, you got white women walking around with their little dog. The police right there. But the majority of Birmingham is going to turn. The population is going to turn. So I say you got the police, everybody the same. In Birmingham right now, that's not going on. Now, if you get that young black man, like I said a while ago, something to do, and you start him off early, when he's like 5 or 6, teach him how to play the piano, teach him how to read. If the great-grandmama is 36, that means a child was born at 12. I seen a situation like that in Vice Hill. The little girl was the smartest girl ever went to Carver High School. all she wanted, I asked her, I said, would you consider being a nurse? She said, all I want to do is get a project like my mom and my grandmama. Now, that brought a tear to my eye. I'm talking about smart. Would have got a scholarship. But her mama don't think like that. Her grandmama don't think like that. So we lost her. How many are we going to lose? I can't save everybody in Birmingham, but I guarantee you, if we got 100 black young men and we can save 30 of them, I'm a hero. And I didn't turn my back on none of them. It's just you ain't going to be able to get all of them. That's just life. But you got to try. So that's my answer.
Okay. As a follow-up to how you plan to tackle crime, we know that there's a correlation between poverty and crime. And if we can reduce poverty, we can perhaps reduce crime. What are your plans for reducing poverty in Birmingham?
Poverty is a fix. From the beginning of time, I give you the 10 Commandments. You had Hebrew slaves. You had Pharaoh. Now, you saw how that ended. But we don't have time for that right now in Birmingham. Now, once again, if as a mayor, if I take my administration and we go to Illerton Projects, we say, put some hot dogs out, some sodas, and we bring every young black man up there and we talk to them once a month. I would rather start in elementary school, but we talk to that young man when he's going to the 9th grade and we show him that what he can do. We'll buy a little house. You're an electrician, he's a plumber, he's a welder. We'll buy a little house. We'll teach them how to fix that house. Next group, we'll teach them how to fix that house. We'll tear it up just to teach them how to fix it. You got to give them something to do. Now, that goes like with the housing authority. If the young lady's on welfare, I don't think the young man should be able to live there free. That wasn't designed for that. It was really designed just to help you get somewhere. Some of those people have been there 40, 50 years. They're not planning on going nowhere. So the ones you can help, you got to engage the community. It's just like y'all got what y'all got, gatekeepers. Go out there. It's not hard to find people who need help. The question is, do they want help? Now, once you realize you can't help nobody, my mother always told me, she said, Darryl, if you talking to a fool and you know they're a fool and you keep talking to them, you're a fool. You have to change the narrative of what's going on now. Neither one of the last two mayors, once they win, they didn't care nothing about the neighborhood no more. If you think that Birmingham promise, that is for somebody who has a 3.8, 4.0 average. You're going to do well. But if you got a 2.5 and you're an electrician or a welder, you can do just as well as a nurse. You got way more 2.5 students than you do 4.0.
Okay. Next question. We have a lot of blighted properties and dilapidated homes in the city of Birmingham. What is your plan for addressing the blight, the abandoned homes, and the overgrown lots?
Birmingham has a law department. When Randall was working as an attorney for the city of Birmingham, he was over prosecuting the people who don't cut their grass. Now, when I worked at the city of Birmingham, I think the director was Fancher, and we had assistant director was Ricky Kennedy. He didn't care what the rules were. We cut every lot. We tore down houses. And when Langford was the mayor, he'd go out there and say, just do it. We cut anything. If I pass by you, you got an empty lot, you live next door, and there's grass on that lot, we cut it. Sue us later. 99% of the people were happy. You got one every now and then talking about the weeds look pretty. You just got to take that.
Okay.
So what is if you lose a lawsuit, $5,000, but your city is clean? Perfect example. If you're on the freeway, and I want you to do it, you personally, since you're running for city council. If you're on the freeway, go to Uptown and just look at the lights. All of them on. Get off on Tallapoosa, you're in the dark. Get off on Avenue I, you're in the dark. But the middle, Rhonda stood up and said at the council meeting somebody stole the copper. So I guess the best copper was on Avenue I and the best copper was Tallapoosa.
Okay.
That's the kind of answer you get from the mayor of the city of Birmingham. Now, so, you know, I hate to say it is what it is, but if we don't change, it's going to be that way. Now, if you don't have a good career, you're through. Now, the city council, outside of Woods and Smitherman, I think all of them should go. Did you know that Valerie Abbott stopped she stopped the whole Major League Baseball situation from coming to the council? She stopped it in the neighborhood. Now tell me, who does that hurt? The 80-year-old lady that lives behind Idlewild Circle, or the little kid who wanted to play baseball? The Major League Baseball wanted to invest $10 million. Valerie Abbott would not even let come to the city hall. You have to ask yourself why. You can't stop black people from going to George Ward Park, but you can stop black people from maybe becoming a pro. They have a hidden agenda. I'm not saying it's all white people. There's some good white people in the world. I'm not looking for them, but it is some good white people in this world. I call on my Facebook page, I love good people. I got put out of Childersburg High School because a white guy called me the N-word, and I hit him in the head with a football helmet. Every white student, even the assistant principal, the principal at the high school, they sent a letter to my daddy and said, Mr. Williams, please don't take him out of hmy school. I was number 21 on the football team. Don't take him out of high school because he run the football fast, or don't take him out of high school because my daddy was like, my mama would kill him if something happened to me. So it happened on a Tuesday, Wednesday morning, I'm at Parker High School. So I deal with it all my life. It's some good people I'd do anything for in the world and live in Childersburg. And they're white. Some of my best friends are white. So I don't have a problem with white. I don't have a problem with LGBTQ+. I have a problem with the mistreatment of good people, especially in this city of Birmingham. Because if you notice one thing, I'm going to say this to you again. If you're not in the clique, you're not going to get in the clique. I'm going to give you a perfect example. Dodger Hendricks, the president of the Board of Education. Her daddy was a city council person. Her mama is the tax assessor, I think. William Bell, son, judge. Carol Smitherman. Mama had every job you could think of. Mayor, city council, lawyer, judge, dad is state representative. Can you understand that the same people keep moving, just move different positions? You would be somebody new. So I guarantee you everything that'll come out your mouth would be new. It'll be vision. But you being a pastor of good standings, that means you care about the people. If you go in there and somebody gave you $1 million, they expect you to do what they want you to do. Me, I finance my own campaign. So what can you say to me? Can you fire me tomorrow? No. What can you do? The most dangerous black person in the world is one that look out for black people. Now, they didn't say Darryl Williams, city worker. Just because I care about my own race, they put the word activist in front of it. Look it up. Any activist that speak for their people, especially if you black, they deem you as a troublemaker. But if somebody speak for white people, he's a hero. If the Mexicans speak for each other, they together. But if a black man take up for the judges, take up for anybody that's being mistreated that's black, you're an activist or you're a troublemaker. Well, who that said good trouble?
Gotcha. Last question. You mentioned earlier some things about the Mayor Council Act, so I take it that you are opposed to the changes that were made about 5 years ago?
I hate it.
Okay. As mayor, what steps would you take to rescind those changes and take it back?
It's going to be hard because you're going to have to start with the state legislator. You got to go there with John and Rogers. You're going to go through Wardine Alexander, Mary Moore. The problem with that, Pastor, is that in the state of Alabama, over, I think, 78 to 80% of the legislators are white. Most of them are men. Now, at $10 an hour, they tried to get for minimum wage. Rhonda went down to Montgomery and fought against it. Minimum wage has been $7.25 since 2009 in Birmingham. We don't have a normal minimum wage. We have a federal minimum wage. 2009. Now, when you got people like Target raised the minimum wage to $16 an hour, you can only have a few people work at Target. You can only have a few people work at Walmart, Honda, Mercedes-Benz, Hyundai. What about if it's 209,000? You can only say help. If you help 10, 15,000, that's a lot of people not getting help. So, you know, you have to be fair. Every candidate that's already in politics that's running is dependent on the same people that vote all the time. You ask a person why you want to vote for William Bell, and this is some of the answers they give you. Oh, he got nice hair. They say Randall looked like the singer Tank. I get it. That's the answer. So if that's where we are as a city, it's incumbent of Lyria, Betty, you, Pastor, everybody in this room to go out and tell some that if you get a change, you have to have a person that will fight for you, not literally just go up there and hit somebody, because that's been done too. When I say fight, and I know you're going to need the city council, but before I give $2-3 million to the Board of Education, we're going to sign a contract that this is what you're going to do with that money. With $3 million, you can go get a teacher to teach welding. With $3 million, you can go get a building. You can go get Hill School, not too far from Parker. But Randall is trying to sell Hill School to, once again, Bill Smith. In a minute, Bill Smith will own more land than anything. And let me tell you about Bill Smith. His daddy used to own all the easy monies. Now, you know what those payday loans do to people? Where are they located? Let me tell y'all one more thing. The city of Birmingham, biggest problem when it comes to bringing up new businesses, infrastructure, they are guided by corporate America. You cannot have a black agenda with white money. And I'm going to explain that to you. Marino's on 3rd Avenue got $1 million incentive to build an extra part of that building. Marino's, the grocery store. Papa Do's got $60,000 in the Summit. Perry Steakhouse, $55,000. No business downtown Birmingham got nothing. Carlos Dansby trying to open up the grocery store right now. They wouldn't give him nothing. Now, so if I turn around and I'm the mayor and I start with these black neighborhoods and I start with somebody like Carlos Dansby, so am I a racist because I love my people? I started with where the problem is. If I start every day holding a city worker accountable for picking up trash in the alleys of Inslee, don't pick it up. Tomorrow you're not working. I'm going to get a supervisor 10 days off if you let them do nothing. You hit a person in their pocket, I don't need the council to keep the city clean. But if you don't care, if you go in office with self-gratification and all I care about is I got on a nice new suit, I got a free truck, free gas, I can do whatever I want to do, I go to a concert, I have parties, I jump on people who running for mayor, that's what they do. Tear down signs. 40 years, I learned from William Bell what not to do. I can name 3 fights, but I'm not. I just said I can name 3 fights. Shouldn't be. William Bell worked for Malcolm and Purney, engineering group with the waterworks, 1999. He lost. As soon as he lost, he went back to work for Malcolm and Purney. Thousands of dollars. They playing a game. Charlie Walter gets 60 million. William get a couple of thousand, free chicken wings. That's what they do. Bill Smith give Randall money, buy the city, Randall get a suit. Maybe a nice career. But you let, the mentality of the white man is to let 5 black people make it to keep 209 from not making it. So what do you do with a candidate like Darryl Williams? You shake. Because I guarantee you one thing, if you go look up everything I said, call me if you find one not being true. I talk, you're gonna like this one. I painted William Bell's house. I helped him cut his grass. I taught Jillian, his daughter, how to play the piano. So my mindset and my skills are impeccable. I'm good at what I do because I was taught by good people. Jimmy didn't get all his talents just because he woke up in the morning as a baby say he could play the clarinet or the piano. She didn't get her talents playing the flute. Her dad and her mama, you gonna do something? You gonna learn something besides what's for dinner. Now, I had the same attitude in the mayor's office if I win that I got with y'all. Now, would I help the gatekeepers? Yes, sir. Would I help most of the preachers that was in that last few debates? No, sir. Once again, if you notice one thing, Bishop Lowe, they said nothing to me. They would wish I didn't come. You had one pastor recently just got out of prison. His wife back then was working for Malcolm and Perney. His daughter was William Bell's executive secretary. Same people, same results. New people, different attitude. But I got to get 4 more of him. Because if I get the same, you know I'm going to inherit a mess. It's going to take me 3 years to get out the mess. But I guarantee you one thing, the city will be clean. No librarian will be fired. Nobody on my staff going to make $175,000 a year. And we're going to cut down on those 3,000 vehicles the city got. Why? It's a lot of things that the mayor can do with his own. And for him to have $35 million, I think it should be a panel over that situation so he just can't spend it like he wants. One of the greatest men in politics, William Bell, set that up with that Mayor Council Act, but the one thing God stepped in and did, he lost. But for him to lose to Woodfin, and Woodfin turned out to be worse than he is, all God did was just show you who Woodfin is. 5 debates, Woodfin came to none. He can't run from Fox 6. Because if Sarah Versa asked me a question, I know the answer. You can't trick me. That's God. You cannot beat God's giving. And if anything I understand from the parents, from the people I know, I'm God's child. I'm not perfect, but if you find a perfect person, show me. But I guarantee you, I stand up for the citizens of Birmingham. I can take any question y'all got.
Well, Mr. Williams, thank you for coming.
Thank y'all.
And what we want to do right now is just pray for you. And so I'm not going to touch you because of the COVID, but I'm going to ask everyone in the audience, if you will, reach out your hand towards Mr. Williams as we pray for him. Heavenly Father, as we prepare to bring this part of the forum to a close, we thank you, Father, for Mr. Williams' transparency here today with us. Now, Lord, you know all things, and we know that you're always working, you're always causing things to work together for the good of those who love you and are called according to your purpose. And therefore, Father, we desire, as the gatekeepers, to see your influence upon city government, state and federal government. And to that end, we invite your spirit to move among us, to move among the citizens of this city, to elect the next mayor and the next city council and the next board members of the Birmingham City School System. We desire, oh God, to see things moving forward in a direction that pleases you and that will benefit not just this generation of citizens here in the city, but future generations as well. Now, Father, we thank you for Brother Williams. We thank you, oh God, for his life and for what he has already done in this city. And we trust, Lord, that you will continue to lead, guide, and direct him in such a way that your will be accomplished in his life and through his life. Thank you for this time that we've had today to share with him and have him share with us. And we give you all glory, all honor, and all praise for the fruit that will be produced as a result of what we did here today. It is in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right.